America's ideal daughter was Maureen McCormick. Millions of people watched her as Marcia Brady for 5 years. However, her true story started in 1974 when the cameras stopped rolling. By the age of 20, she had 3 abortions. She exchanged narcotics for her body. Her parents almost called the police on their own daughter because things got that nasty. She kept quiet about what actually transpired for decades. At the age of 68, she is now speaking the truth, and it is not at all what we all thought she was. On August 5, 1956, Maureen McCormick was born in Anino, Los Angeles. Her life was full of secrets and confusion from the beginning. She was the 4th child of Irene, a woman dealing with personal issues, and Richard, a school teacher. Oldest brothers, Michael, Dennis, and Kevin, made up the McCormick's family, which first appeared to be a loving Catholic household. However, conditions within their house were far from ideal. Life was unstable due to her mother's turbulent past and erratic mood swings. Maureen felt disoriented and uncomfortable due to the need to conceal their family's issues, particularly in a rigid religious environment. She was profoundly affected by these formative years, which also laid the groundwork for the difficulties she would encounter later in life. Everything changed when Maureen was 6 years old. The Baby Miss San Fernando Valley pageant was won by her. This wasn't merely a minor regional title. It was the event that thrust her into the public eye and lifted her out of the shadows of her dysfunctional household. She immediately caught the attention of Pat Domigan, a talent agent. He thought she had what it took to be a celebrity. Maureen was soon entering the entertainment industry, which offered the prospect of stardom but also a number of risks. She was able to escape with that crown, but it also led to a life where she would need to mature quickly and deal with continual pressure to be flawless. By the age of 8, Maureen's visage was everywhere. She appeared in national advertisements for 2 of Mattel's most well-known dolls, Barbie and Chatty Cathy. Children in America were aware of her identity. Her family benefited from the money, but Maureen also had to maintain a positive public persona. She became a household name because to these advertisements, regardless of what was going on at home, she started to be recognized by Hollywood filmmakers as a natural for larger parts. She appeared to be the ideal American child because she was the face of popular toys. However, it also created high standards for her. Maureen had already gained popularity among television viewers before she was even named Marcia Brady. She appeared on popular sitcoms including I Dream of Jeannie, Honey West, and My 3 Sons, and she played Tiny Andorra on Bewitched. She was not simply another adorable child on television. Maureen shone her versatility in a variety of roles. Hollywood people took note. She demonstrated that she had more than just a gorgeous face. She had true talent. She learned how to deal with the challenging world of acting from these early experiences. A little girl called Maureen McCormick made a decision in 1969 that would alter the course of her life forever. Despite being just 13, she entered an audition room with 1,200 other young, aspirational kids. The part of Marcia Brady in the brand new program The Brady Bunch was what they all want. Maureen stood out because of her warmth, charm, and ability to make people feel as though they already knew her. She was given the part in that one instance. She instantly transformed from a regular girl to a member of one of the most well-known families on American television. Upon the debut of The Brady Bunch on September 26, 1969, Maureen instantly rose to fame. She was viewed by viewers as the ideal adolescent daughter, always being nice, always being happy, always acting morally. She was the ideal girl in America's eyes. Even though she was admired by everyone, Maureen was concealing a sad reality. Her life was full of secrets. At home, her grandmother passed away from syphilis complications in a mental health facility. Her mom struggled with mental illness. Both of her brothers received a diagnosis of schizophrenia. None of this was known to anyone outside the family. Additionally, Maureen was having trouble keeping herself together as she grinned for the cameras. Things got much more problematic as the show's popularity increased. Maureen was 16 by 1973. Barry Williams was 19 when he portrayed her brother Greg. They were siblings on film, but they couldn't deny their true feelings behind the scenes. Their attraction developed into a genuine adolescent romance. Nearly crossed a line at one time, which nearly altered their entire relationship. Maureen then claimed that she felt so strongly about Barry that it was difficult to distinguish between Marcia and herself. Nobody who watched the show could have predicted this secret. They remained the ideal Brady kids in the eyes of the world. The Brady Bunch was more than simply a television program during this time. It had become a phenomenon in pop music. The Brady Kids are a real band that was founded by the cast. They toured the world and produced 4 albums. Producers took notice of Maureen's singing voice. She made an album with Christopher Knight, who played Peter Brady. In 1973, it included tunes like Spread a Little Love Around and Little Bird. Maureen even had an appearance on American Bandstand when she was urged to go solo by Dick Clark. For a while, it appeared as though she would be in for a whole different kind of work. However, the burden of her double life continued to grow. Even while she sang live, Maureen lived in two worlds for 5 years. She was Marsha Brady on TV, content, fit, and ideal. However, she felt as though she was disintegrating in private. The strain of concealing her family's hardships took a toll. She started battling bulimia. She began abusing drugs. She believed that she was gradually being destroyed by the deception she was leading. Maureen was 18 when the Brady Bunch concluded in 1974, and he had lost. She no longer had the show that had given her meaning. She also lost her sense of self without it. She was deeply affected by the cancellation. She felt hollow without Marsha in her life. She was unable to avoid the unsavory realities about her family, though it was impossible to ignore the secrets she had kept for so long. She became even more depressed. The girl the world had adored as Marsha Brady was now struggling to stay alive and discover her true self behind the flawless facade that had brought her fame. At the end of the Brady Bunch in 1974, Maureen McCormick was only 18. She was still viewed by the world as the ideal adolescent, Marsha Brady, but much was lost behind the scenes. The constant job and fame vanished almost immediately. Only Marsha was seen by casting directors. Nobody offered her the opportunity to demonstrate her potential. Her confidence eroded with each rejection. Tragic family truths were revealed. At the same time, Maureen learned that her grandmother had succumbed to syphilis while confined to a mental health facility. Without anyone noticing, Maureen's mother had inherited the illness. The heartache was exacerbated by her father's emotional isolation and adultery. Maureen believed that the secure, contented world she was used with had collapsed. She struggled to get away from Marsha Brady's shadow. She appeared as a guest on Happy Days, Harry O., The Streets of San Francisco, and Fantasy Island from 1974 to 1978. These were not minor components. In contrast to the charming Marsha, she portrayed a model who turned into a call girl on the streets of San Francisco. She displayed her talent by assuming nuanced and poignant roles. However, despite her best efforts, she was unable to break free from her TV background. She wouldn't even be considered for bold roles by some producers. Because no one saw Marsha as a criminal, she was passed over for roles in Midnight Express. Although these guest roles helped her maintain her visibility, they did not provide her with the breakthrough she was hoping for. Maureen attempted to pursue a career in movies as well. She portrayed Rose of Sharon in the drama Pony Express Rider, which was set in 1861 Texas. In 1976, a year later, she was able to depart from her pleasant persona with the release of Moonshine County Express, a gritty action film. She portrayed Lorenzo Lama's girlfriend in the 1979 high school wrestling drama Takedown. However, despite her adult positions, she was still perceived as a teenager. Even worse, she started to be followed by rumors of drug use. When she tried out for Raiders of the Lost Ark, she missed a huge opportunity. After 3 restless nights, she blew it and arrived high and tired. Although these movies weren't successful, they demonstrated her determination to alter her course. The Love Boat was one location that offered her hope. She made 5 appearances between 1977 and 1982 in various roles. Each tale examined romance, exploration, or self-discovery. In a chaotic time, these occurrences provided her with employment and a tiny bit of calm. Her fans were thrilled to see her back, and she was able to escape her hardships in a familiar environment. The show's kindness and upbeat themes resonated with what she was looking for in real life. The Love Boat became a haven for her when she was on the verge of being overcome by addiction and depression. However, things were disintegrating behind the scenes. When Maureen McCormick's cocaine nightmare started, she was just 18. The Brady Bunch had recently come to an end in 1974. She was the ideal Marsha Brady on television, but her life was falling apart behind the scenes. Maureen fell straight into the shadowy recesses. Days passed while she chased the high, losing track of food, sleep, and everything else. She once appeared at a Raiders of the Lost Ark audition after going 3 days without sleep and used cocaine non-stop. She was a complete mess. She didn't grasp the opportunity. She was more broken with each binge. She sank farther the more she used. Her family, profession, and even personal health were no longer important. The next high was all that counted. Hollywood quickly stopped believing in her. She was not trusted by the producers. Casting directors ceased to call. She missed 3 days of filming for the Brady Brides because she was so high that she hid in a closet. She also squandered other opportunities, like the audition for Spielberg. Later on, she acknowledged that it was very awful. Her formerly successful career was in ruins. After being adored by millions, the girl was now viewed as a danger that nobody wanted. Maureen had greater heartbreak between the ages of 18 and 20. She became pregnant 3 times without intending to. Abortion was the result. Later, she apologized for it and said it demonstrated how lost she was. She was forced to make decisions she never would have thought to make because of the drugs and the pandemonium. Early in the 1980s, Maureen McCormick's life had devolved into a nightmare. Her family was at a loss for what to do as her addiction worsened. They felt scared. They had made every effort to assist her, but to no avail. At last, her parents made a decision that startled Maureen. If she didn't obtain help, they threatened to call the police on their own daughter. Later, Maureen remarked, "My parents nearly made me a police officer. They had reached the end of their options. I could hide really effectively and was quite cunning." Their words weren't merely meant to frighten her. They took it seriously. Her father even addressed her directly with the statement. Their relationship was severely damaged by the incident. Despite their feelings of helplessness, they loved her. The daughter they knew had been altered by addiction. To save her, they were prepared to take any and all risks. Maureen had a difficult time recovering even after that. She made numerous attempts to escape. She made multiple trips to treatment in the early 1980s. Every time, she hoped that she would ultimately prevail in the battle. Addiction, however, held her more tightly than she had ever thought. She experimented with many therapies. She even collaborated with a psychologist who promised results, Eugene Landy. However, his tactics made matters worse rather than better. Her problems were exacerbated when he gave her an excessive amount of medication. Maureen continued to slide back. For years, Maureen McCormick's life had been going haywire. Her cocaine addiction had destroyed her profession, her health, and almost every connection she valued. By the middle of the 1980s. She didn't anticipate everything changing until she met Michael Cummings, but that's precisely what took place. Michael never delivered a speech. He didn't use kind words to try to save her.